If you're going to fire a bow and arrow, then you should go and do a little bit of work on firing a bow and arrow, because the circumstances are never going to be perfect. You know, you're going to be firing while you're running, while it's raining. You know, you have to fire a certain mark in a certain place, so you need to be so familiar with that you've got to make the thing that's part of your character part of you.
My very first night on set was shooting flaming arrows, and I thought, that's pretty cool.
The archery training has gone on all the way through the film. They all met up in Australia with Russell and built up a team spirit there.
The equipment we built has to be authentic to the period, and Ridley and Russell were most insistent that these had to be accurate representations of the bows we used. There are in excess of 200 longbows purpose-made for this film, each one from my workshop. I would say in excess of 7,000 arrows.
Archery was a big delight, surprise. I'd never done it really before, and loved it, and I think I will continue to do it, actually.
You have to learn how to grab an arrow and knock it, which is harder than shooting an arrow, by the way. To grab an arrow, knock it onto the string, and then do it. That's the hardest part.
You know, there's an extended period there where I was firing 200 arrows a day, which is roughly equivalent to what an Olympic archer would probably do.
Russell is the best. Alan is second, and I'm a close third on Alan's tail. But we've gotten really, really good. Surprising how good we've gotten.
It's practice with archery. You'll know if you're good at it, you can build on it, and it'll keep coming.
The physical challenges of this film I didn't see coming as much as I probably would have liked to have, to be honest. Because, you know, there's a lot of fighting, a lot of archery, a lot of running around, a lot of horse riding. It's very physically demanding. It'd be so easy to be injured if you weren't prepared to do all this stuff right and properly.
We started learning choreography for the fight quite early, but you're learning this choreography with, you know, another stunt fella and some other stunt fellas, and you're walking through the moves. You don't realize that when you get there during the battle that there are wild horses running around and hundreds upon hundreds of other people battling. So you learn all the moves, but then when you get in there, you're actually at war.
On a daily basis, it's all been interesting and it's all been fascinating in one way or another. And doing that cavalry charge with 130 horses at a full gallop, that was like being, you know, like 3 times the size of the Grand National, all going nuts.
It's been incredibly exciting. It's been very physical. I mean, I've been doing a lot of my own stunts. I mean, I can ride a horse and I ride pretty well. And the minute everybody realized that, they just went, well, let Mark do it, Mark will do it, Mark will do it.
All the guys working here on, with the horses, they're just incredible teachers. So in a very short time, they're able to instill a lot of confidence in you, which is basically what it's all about.
They've all been brilliant. I mean, the hardest thing really for this is the riding. You know, they've had to ride, they've had to gallop along the beaches, gallop flat out with tracking vehicles and stuff, and they've done really well.
He tested me out. He said, look, you can do this if you're game for it. He set the challenge, and so when someone says you're game for it, you're not going to say, well, no, I'm not. You don't get to do that every day. That's the joy of making a film like this, is you get to do these sort of things that are really adrenaline-based. My first day on set, I found it breathtaking. It was sort of like being one of those little people in Gulliver's Travels. I'd suddenly woken up and found myself in a completely other world. And the working water wheel and the chapel, I mean, it really does make my job very easy.
For me, it's trying to create a 360-degree world that actors can immerse themselves within and believe that they're there.
I would like to have lived in any one of the films I've made. You've got to want to occupy that space. And I think that's what's good, because when I walk in a room, you feel the room, and the actor walks in the room and feels the room. I think it actually is a great proscenium for them.
You're inside the time period, inside the costume, you have the skills to hand because you've done the work, and you're walking through a forest, and, you know, and it's 1198.
Here we are on the back lot of Shepperton, which we began 16 weeks ago to build the exterior of the Tower of London. It's a fragment of the whole Tower of London complex as it would have been in the 12th century, and a part of London town surrounding it. The tone of the film that Ridley wanted to make is the dirty fingernails of England at the time, the lifestyle, the actual experience of what it was like to be in England at the time.
The vision that I think Ridley has for creating a new world, like literally creating a painting that you can walk around. It's like being in a time machine.
The joy of it was doing the research, trying to find out what things looked like and how people lived in that period. The idea was to try and recreate as accurately as possible the towns and villages as well as the grandeur of the castles of the period.
They transformed this one area about an hour and 15 minutes out of London into Nottingham, or the north of England, and it was remarkable. The first day I got there, I just was kind of blown away, not only by the detail and this level of authenticity, but the depth of field is remarkable.
I don't think there's ever been a telling of this story that's tried to be truer to the time in which the story takes place.
The scale of it has been an amazing privilege.
It's not an exaggeration to say it's monumental.
The amount of scenes and the energy of the film, like you're constantly moving from one location to the next.
And action. And then you can go.
Here you're set